What happens when humanity's greatest achievement becomes its deadliest threat? As the void awakened, half of the aliens surrendered instantly, but the other half prepared to fight. You won't believe what happened next. The vastness of space stretched endlessly, an infinite canvas dotted with stars that flickered like distant candles. Humanity had ventured far beyond its home world, their technology evolving into something almost godlike. But nothing could have prepared them or anyone else for what happened on that day. When human ships first entered the uncharted territory of Zeta 9, they were met not by silence but by life. Thousands of alien beings emerged from the shadows of their planets, their forms shimmering under the light of twin suns. And then it happened, half of them dropped to their knees, surrendering without firing a single shot. The humans aboard the lead vessel exchanged stunned glances. Captain Elena Voss gripped the edge of her command console, her knuckles white as she processed the scene unfolding outside. Her crew muttered nervously around her, some laughing incredulously, others whispering theories about why these creatures would bow so quickly. Was it fear, respect, or something deeper, more primal? The view screen displayed the surreal tableau in vivid detail. Glowing, translucent beings kneeling in rows, their elongated limbs folding gracefully against their bodies. Behind them stood another faction, taller, broader, and clad in jagged armor that reflected the harsh light of the nearby star. These warriors brandished weapons that hummed with energy, yet they made no move to attack. Instead, they watched their kin kneel, their expressions unreadable behind faceted masks. Elena leaned forward, her sharp eyes scanning the scene for any sign of deception or ambush. "This doesn't make sense," she murmured half to herself. "Why would they surrender before we even engaged?" Lieutenant Marcus Kane adjusted his glasses, leaning closer to the screen as if proximity might provide clarity. "Maybe they've encountered humans before. Or maybe—" He hesitated, his voice trailing off as he considered the implications. "Maybe they think we're gods." Dr. Lila Chun, the ship's xenobiologist, stepped forward, her gaze fixed intently on the view screen. "It's unprecedented," she admitted. "Surrender is rare among intelligent species unless there's a clear hierarchy or history of oppression. Either way, this isn't random. They're communicating something profound. We only just began this story, but trust me, things are about to get much more intense. Stay tuned to find out what happens when humanity faces the ultimate test of power and morality." Elena's mind raced as she analyzed the situation through the view screen. The aliens who surrendered moved with deliberate grace, their translucent skin pulsing faintly, as though synchronized with some unseen rhythm. Their movements were hypnotic, almost ritualistic, as if they were performing a sacred act. Behind them, the armored faction remained motionless, their weapons trained outward but not aimed at the human ships. The tension was palpable, a silent standoff that seemed to stretch endlessly. "What do we do now?" asked Lieutenant Marcus Kane, his voice tinged with both awe and unease. He adjusted his glasses again, a nervous habit that betrayed his inner turmoil. "Do we accept their surrender?" Elena hesitated. Acceptance implied acknowledgement, and acknowledgement meant engagement. If they opened communications, there was no telling where it might lead. Yet ignoring the gesture felt wrong, almost cruel. She turned to Dr. Lila Chun, whose expertise in extraterrestrial cultures was unparalleled. "Lila, any thoughts?" Dr. Chun studied the scene intently, her brow furrowed. "It's unprecedented," she repeated, her voice steady but laced with concern. "Surrender is rare among intelligent species unless there's a clear hierarchy or history of oppression. Either way, this isn't random. They're communicating something profound." Elena nodded slowly, her mind racing through possibilities. Were these beings genuinely afraid of humanity? Did they view humans as superior beings? Or was this a calculated move to lower their guard? The armored aliens, standing defiantly behind their kneeling counterparts, added another layer of complexity. Why weren't they following suit? What divided these two factions? Captain, whispered Ensign Ravi Patel, his fingers hovering over the weapon's controls. If those hostiles fire, we won't have time to react. Elena nodded grimly. Then let's hope they don't. She addressed the hologram again. Why do you believe we can help you? The answer came slowly, each word weighted with meaning. Because you are gods compared to us. The phrase sent shivers down everyone's spines. Gods? Humanity had long abandoned such notions, at least publicly. To be called divine by another species was unsettling, even terrifying. Elena leaned back in her chair, trying to process the implications. Did these beings genuinely worship them, or was this a ploy? And what of the hostile faction, the ones who refused to kneel? Before she could delve further, alarms blared across the ship. Sensors detected movement beneath the surface of the nearest planet. Dozens of massive structures were rising, their metallic exteriors gleaming ominously in the sunlight. They resembled ancient temples, yet their design hinted at advanced engineering. Whatever secrets lay hidden below, they were waking up. Prepare for evasive maneuvers, Elena commanded, though her tone betrayed uncertainty. Were they walking into a trap, or had they stumbled upon something far greater than themselves? As the crew scrambled to comply, she couldn't shake the feeling that they were being tested, not just as explorers but as moral agents. Dr. Chun approached the captain, her expression grave. Captain, I think we need to consider the possibility that these structures are tied to their culture or their survival. If we interfere, we could inadvertently trigger something catastrophic. Elena sighed, rubbing her temples. Options, Lila. Give me options. We could send a drone to investigate, Marcus suggested. Minimal risk, maximum intel. Elena nodded. Do it, but keep the ship on high alert. Something tells me this is just the beginning. As the standoff continued, Elena ordered her crew to maintain defensive protocols while broadcasting a neutral signal. It was a risky move. Silence might have been safer, but curiosity drove her decision. Moments later, the view screen flickered, and a holographic figure materialized, a representative of the kneeling aliens. Its form shifted constantly, as if struggling to take shape within human parameters. Finally, it stabilized into a humanoid silhouette with glowing eyes and a voice that resonated like wind chimes. We seek solace, it said simply, the translation software rendering its words in perfect English. From your arrival, we know salvation is near. The bridge erupted in murmurs. Salvation? What did they mean? Before Elena could respond, one of the armored aliens stepped forward, raising a weapon that crackled with raw energy. The hologram flinched, its glow dimming slightly, but it held its ground. Tension thickened the air, both inside the ship and out. Captain, whispered Ensign Ravi Patel, his fingers hovering over the weapon's controls. If those hostiles fire, we won't have time to react. Elena nodded grimly. Then let's hope they don't. She addressed the hologram again. Why do you believe we can help you? The answer came slowly, each word weighted with meaning. Because you are gods compared to us. The phrase lingered in the air, heavy with implications. Elena's mind raced as she tried to decipher its meaning. Gods? What had humanity done, or perhaps what had they inadvertently signaled, that would lead these beings to view them as deities? She glanced at Dr. Chun, who was already poring over the data streaming in from their sensors. Lila, Elena said, her voice low but urgent. What are we missing here? Dr. Chun didn't look up immediately, her fingers flying across the console as she cross-referenced readings. Finally, she spoke, her tone cautious. Captain, based on their physiology and behavior, I'd say these beings operate on a completely different scale of existence. Their biology suggests they're not just intelligent, they're hyper-evolved, possibly even energy-based life forms. To them, our technology might appear incomprehensible, almost magical. Marcus chimed in, his skepticism evident. So, we're gods because we have better gadgets? That seems presumptuous. Elena shot him a sharp glance. It's not about presumption, Marcus. It's about perception. If they see us as superior, they'll act accordingly, and that could work for or against us. Before they could delve deeper into the discussion, the armored aliens grew restless. One of them stepped forward, its weapon humming louder as it pointed directly at the human ships. Its voice boomed through the comms, deep and guttural. "You bring ruin upon us all." The crew froze, the weight of the accusation sinking in. Ruin? They hadn't fired a shot, hadn't even landed. How could their mere presence cause destruction? Elena turned to her crew, each member visibly shaken. This wasn't exploration anymore, it was survival. We're on the brink of revelation. The choices made here will echo throughout the galaxy. Trust me, you won't want to miss what comes next. The armored alien's declaration hung heavy in the air, its words reverberating through the ship like a death knell. Elena clenched her fists, her mind racing to decipher the meaning behind the warning. "Ruin upon us all," she muttered under her breath. "What does that even mean?" Dr. Chun stepped forward, her analytical mind already piecing together possibilities. "Captain, these structures, they might be tied to their ecosystem. If they're organic-mechanical hybrids, activating them could destabilize the planet's environment. Or worse, they might see our presence as a trigger for some kind of self-destruction protocol." Before Elena could respond, the view screen flickered again. This time, the holographic figure of the kneeling aliens reappeared, its form trembling with urgency. "You must stop them," it pleaded, gesturing toward the armored faction. "They will awaken the void. It consumes everything." "The void," Marcus echoed, his voice tinged with disbelief. "That sounds like something out of a bad sci-fi novel." But Elena wasn't so quick to dismiss it. The term carried weight, a sense of finality that chilled her to the bone. She turned to Lila. "Is this cultural? Religious? Or are we talking about an actual threat?" Lila hesitated, her eyes scanning the data pouring in from the sensors. "I don't know yet, but if their fear is genuine, we can't ignore it." As the crew debated their next move, the armored aliens began chanting in unison, their voices rising into a deafening crescendo. The massive structures on the planet's surface pulsed with light, their vibrations growing stronger by the second. Something was coming, something big. Elena gripped the edge of her console, her knuckles white. "Options, people. Now. Send a drone to investigate those structures," Elena commanded, her voice cutting through the tension like a blade. "We need eyes on the ground before we make any assumptions." The crew sprang into action, deploying a sleek reconnaissance drone equipped with advanced imaging technology. As it descended toward the planet's surface, the view screen displayed its feed in real time. What they saw defied explanation. The structures weren't just machines. They were alive, their surfaces rippling with bioluminescent patterns that shifted and flowed like liquid. At their core, a dark void seemed to pulse, drawing in the surrounding light and energy. "This doesn't look good," Ravi murmured, his fingers flying over the controls. "Whatever that thing is, it's growing." Suddenly, the drone's signal cut out. Static filled the screen, followed by a brief flash of movement, a claw-like appendage snatching the drone before it vanished entirely. Elena's jaw tightened. They're not just waking it up, they're feeding it. The realization hit the crew like a freight train. Whatever the void was, it wasn't a passive entity. It was hungry, and humanity had unknowingly walked right into its path. Marcus leaned closer to the screen, his face pale. "Captain, if that thing keeps growing, it could destabilize the entire star system. We're talking about extinction-level consequences." Elena nodded grimly. "Then we stop it, whatever it takes." The armored aliens chanting reached a fever pitch, their weapons now pointed directly at the human ships. Elena knew they were running out of time. "Open a channel," she commanded. "Let's try talking to them again." The comms crackled to life, and the lead armored alien stepped forward, its mask splitting open to reveal a face both humanoid and grotesque. Its eyes glowed with an unnatural intensity, and its voice boomed with authority. "Leave this place, or face annihilation." "Annihilation?" Elena shot back, her tone sharp. "From what? Your little light show down there?" The alien's expression didn't change, but its posture stiffened. "You cannot comprehend the power you meddle with. The void is eternal. It will consume your ships, your world, your very existence." Elena exchanged a glance with Dr. Chun, who nodded gravely. "He's not bluffing," Lila whispered. "If that thing grows large enough, it could destabilize the entire star system." Elena took a deep breath, her mind racing. They couldn't afford to retreat, not when the stakes were this high. But engaging the hostile faction would only escalate the situation. She needed another option, and fast. "We need to split our focus," Elena declared, addressing her crew. "Marcus, I want you monitoring the void's growth patterns. Lila, analyze the kneeling aliens' behavior. Find out why they're so desperate to stop this. Ravi, keep an eye on the hostiles. If they make a move, we need to be ready." As the team dispersed to their tasks, Elena turned her attention back to the view screen. The kneeling aliens remained motionless, their glowing forms casting an ethereal glow against the darkness of space. One of them raised a hand, pointing toward the void. "It is not too late," its voice echoed. "Seal it before it awakens fully." Elena frowned. "Seal it how? With what?" The hologram hesitated, its form flickering as if struggling to communicate. Finally, it spoke. "The key. You carry it within you." "The key?" Elena repeated, baffled. "What are you talking about?" Before the alien could respond, the armored faction fired a warning shot, narrowly missing the human ship. The bridge erupted in chaos as alarms blared and the crew scrambled to stabilize the vessel. "We're out of time," Elena muttered. "Someone tell me what the hell is going on." The situation spiraled out of control. The void's pulsations grew stronger, sending shockwaves through the surrounding space. The armored aliens launched a coordinated assault, their weapons tearing through the void of space with terrifying precision. Elena barked orders, her voice steady despite the chaos. "Return fire, but aim to disable, not destroy." The human ships retaliated, their advanced technology giving them the upper hand for now. But the real battle wasn't outside. It was within. The void's influence was spreading, corrupting the minds of everyone aboard. Crew members reported hallucinations, visions of their worst fears and deepest regrets. Even Elena wasn't immune. Shadows danced at the edges of her vision, whispering doubts that threatened to overwhelm her. And then, amidst the chaos, Dr. Chun made a breakthrough. "Captain, I think I know what the key is," she said, her voice trembling with excitement. "It's not an object, it's knowledge. The kneeling aliens believe we hold the secret to sealing the void because of our advanced understanding of quantum mechanics." Elena's eyes widened. "Are you saying we can actually stop this thing?" Lila nodded. "But we'll need to act fast and work together." The climactic moment had arrived. Humanity's survival depended on a single daring decision. Would they rise to the challenge or succumb to the void's relentless hunger? With the void's tendrils stretching further into space, Elena gathered her senior officers for an emergency meeting. The bridge was tense, the air thick with urgency as alarms continued to blare intermittently. "Here's the plan," she began, her voice cutting through the chaos like a blade. "We use our quantum destabilizers to create a containment field around the void. It won't destroy it, but it might buy us enough time to figure out a permanent solution." Marcus frowned, his glasses slipping slightly down his nose as he leaned forward. "That's risky. If the containment fails, the backlash could tear the ship apart." And even if it works, we're talking about containing something that's already destabilizing entire planets. Are we sure this is the best move? Elena didn't hesitate. Her tone was firm, leaving no room for argument. It's a risk we have to take. If we don't act now, there won't be a ship left to worry about. The void isn't just growing. It's consuming everything in its path. Every second we waste debating is another second it gets stronger. Dr. Chun stepped forward, her expression resolute. Captain, I've been analyzing the energy signatures from the void. It's not just physical destruction we're dealing with. It's existential. This thing feeds on imbalance, chaos. Our quantum destabilizers are designed to manipulate energy fields so they might actually work. But Marcus is right. Precision is key. One miscalculation, and we'll make things worse. Elena nodded, absorbing their input. Then let's minimize the variables. Ravi, reroute all non-essential power to the stabilizers. Marcus, you're on calibration. Lila, keep monitoring the void's growth patterns. We need real-time data to adjust the field as we deploy it. The crew sprang into action, their movements precise and determined. Meanwhile, the kneeling aliens offered their assistance, their glowing forms interfacing with the ship's systems in ways that defied explanation. Their presence was both comforting and unnerving, a reminder of the fragile alliance they'd formed. As the containment field began to take shape, the armored aliens redoubled their efforts, launching a furious assault on the human ships. Explosions rocked the hull, and the crew fought to maintain control. "Hold steady," Elena shouted, her voice ringing with authority. "We're almost there." The containment field flickered to life, encasing the void in a shimmering barrier of energy. For a moment, it seemed like they'd succeeded. The void's pulsations slowed, its tendrils retracting slightly. The crew let out a collective breath, relief washing over them. But then, without warning, the barrier began to destabilize. Cracks spread across its surface, leaking tendrils of darkness that lashed out like living creatures. "We're losing it," Marcus yelled, his hands flying over the controls. "The void's adapting faster than we anticipated." Elena clenched her fists, her heart pounding in her chest. "Divert all available power to the containment field. We can't let it break free." The crew worked frantically, rerouting energy from non-essential systems to reinforce the barrier. Lights dimmed across the ship as auxiliary functions were shut down. The kneeling aliens joined them, their forms glowing brighter as they channeled their own energy into the effort. Together, they managed to stabilize the field, but barely. Outside, the armored aliens regrouped, their weapons trained on the human ships. "This isn't over," their leader growled, its voice dripping with menace. "You've delayed the inevitable." Elena clenched her fists, her resolve hardening. "Not if we have anything to say about it." As the immediate threat subsided, Elena turned her attention to the kneeling aliens. "You said we carry the key," she reminded them. "Explain. Now." The holographic figure hesitated, its form flickering as if weighing the consequences of revealing too much. Finally, it spoke. "The key is not just knowledge, it is balance. Your species has mastered creation and destruction in equal measure. Only you can restore harmony to the void." Elena exchanged a glance with Dr. Chun, who nodded thoughtfully. "They're talking about entropy," Lila explained. "The void feeds on imbalance. If we can recalibrate its core using quantum entanglement, we might be able to neutralize it." "It's worth a shot," Elena decided. "Prepare the necessary equipment. We're going in." The crew scrambled to assemble the tools needed for the mission. Portable quantum stabilizers, energy conduits, and protective suits were loaded onto a shuttle. Elena selected a small team to accompany her, including Marcus, Lila, and Ravi. Each member brought a unique skill set to the table, and she knew their combined expertise would be crucial to their success. As the shuttle descended toward the planet's surface, the view screen displayed the swirling mass of the void in all its terrifying glory. Its tendrils writhed like serpents, reaching out as if searching for prey. The structures surrounding it pulsed with bioluminescent light, their surfaces shifting and flowing like liquid metal. "This is insane," Marcus muttered, clutching his weapon tightly. "We're walking straight into the belly of the beast." "Stay focused," Elena commanded. "We didn't come this far to turn back now." Guided by the kneeling aliens, who accompanied them in holographic form, the team reached the void's core. It was a swirling maelstrom of darkness and light, a paradox that defied comprehension. Using their quantum equipment, they began the delicate process of recalibration. Time seemed to slow as they worked, each second stretching into eternity. The armored aliens launched a final assault, their weapons tearing through the structures with devastating force. "Hurry!" Ravi shouted from the ship, his voice crackling over the comms. "They're breaching the perimeter." The team worked feverishly, their movements precise and deliberate. Each adjustment to the quantum stabilizers brought them closer to neutralizing the void, but the process was fraught with danger. The core itself seemed alive, resisting their efforts with bursts of energy that sent shockwaves rippling through the surrounding area. Elena gritted her teeth, her focus unwavering despite the chaos unfolding around them. "This thing doesn't want to die," Marcus said, his voice strained as he adjusted a conduit. "It's fighting back." "Keep going," Elena urged. "We're almost there." Lila monitored the readings on her handheld device, her eyes wide with concentration. "The energy levels are stabilizing, but we're still at critical mass. If we don't finish recalibrating in the next 60 seconds, the void will overload." Ravi, stationed near the entrance of the structure, kept watch for any sign of the armored aliens. "They're closing in," he shouted. "I count at least 20 of them, and they're armed to the teeth." Elena glanced up briefly, her jaw tightening. "We don't have time to deal with them. Ravi, hold them off as long as you can. The rest of us need to finish this." Ravi nodded, raising his weapon as the first wave of armored aliens appeared at the entrance. Blasts of energy illuminated the chamber, casting eerie shadows on the walls. Despite the odds, Ravi held his ground, buying precious time for the team to complete their task. Finally, with only seconds to spare, the recalibration was complete. The void shuddered, its tendrils retracting as the core stabilized. A wave of energy surged outward, knocking the team off their feet. When the dust settled, the void was gone, reduced to a dormant state, its threat neutralized. Back aboard the ship, the crew erupted in cheers. The armored aliens retreated, their purpose fulfilled or perhaps abandoned. The kneeling aliens bowed deeply, their gratitude evident in their glowing forms. "You have saved us," their leader said simply. "For that, we are eternally grateful." As the human ships prepared to leave Zeta 9, Elena reflected on the events that had transpired. They had faced the unknown, confronted their fears, and emerged victorious. But the experience had changed them, all of them. Humanity's journey into the stars was far from over, and the lessons they had learned would guide them as they ventured further into the cosmos. Elena stood on the bridge, gazing out at the stars through the viewscreen. Her thoughts drifted to the choices they had made, the risks they had taken, and the lives they had saved, not just their own, but countless others across the galaxy. She felt a profound sense of responsibility, knowing that humanity's actions would shape the future of countless worlds. Turning to her crew, she allowed herself a rare smile. "Today, we proved that no matter how vast the universe may be, humanity has a role to play. We are explorers, protectors, and builders. And as long as we stay true to those values, we'll always find a way to overcome whatever challenges lie ahead." She paused, then addressed the audience directly. "Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe for more thrilling adventures across the galaxy. Until next time, keep looking to the stars, and remember, the universe is waiting for you."